something that is very relevant to the current plotline is a piece of information revealed by Anik during the third nightmare trial, involving how people awakened prior to the creation of the nightmare spell and subsequently obtained power. According to Anik, contrary to how people awaken in the current world via defeating their nightmare, forming a soul core, then visiting the dream realm from which they would emerge with knowledge on how to control their soul essence, prior to the nightmare spell, the process to awaken was actually in reverse. Now, this is because in order to awaken, people would have to learn how to control their essence by themselves first, and from that point forward, they would be able to slowly make progress on forming their own soul cores. As Anik puts it, it is in this order because you wouldn't be able to form a soul core without being able to first control your soul essence, as that would be the equivalent of trying to build a house without having any bricks. With that having been said, those who want to awaken must first learn how to sense and control their soul essence. Now, this can be done through a number of ways, so plentiful in fact that Anik claims that this is actually a unique experience for many people. Some methods that people have used in order to awaken are things like deep meditation, or what I like to call closed door cultivation, where one would meditate for years on end in order to perfect their souls and have it reach a state of unity with their minds. Another method that people seem to have used is to travel the world, gathering insights from nature and the many living things across each realm. Now, as you can probably imagine, it can take a long time to learn how to control your essence, so long in fact that Anik actually considers this the hardest part of awakening. If you want to do it in the simplest, most reliable, but yet kind of dangerous way possible, then the best method would be to defeat a creature or person that is already awakened, and to harness the soul essence left behind via their soul shards. Through this method, your own dormant essence would be activated or influenced and gradually turn controllable once you have absorbed enough. Now, this method is not all powerful or even a cheat code, as even while using it, it still took Rain about 4 years in order to finally be able to control her own essence, giving validity to Anik's statement that this process of learning to control one's own essence is in fact the hardest step. After learning to control one's own essence comes the formation of the soul core, which, according to Sunny, represents the bridge between the soul and the body. Not to mention, it is also the place in which your body stores its essence. In terms of forming the soul core, the process is actually fairly simple, albeit time-consuming, as Rain was able to start progress on the formation of her soul core the day that she learned how to control her essence. She simply did so by circulating the essence in her body and creating enough pressure to be able to condense the essence into something akin to that of a grain of sand, which once enough is accumulated would ultimately form a soul core. Once the soul core is ultimately finished and completed, one can truly start to call themselves an awakened. From there, they can set their eyes on Ascension. Now, the process to Ascension is actually rather simple, as the first part just requires one to improve the quality of their essence and their body. This step can be done by refining one's own essence and or by absorbing the essence of stronger beings in the same manner as one would if they were trying to awaken their own essence. To be clear though, Anik stated that you can't overly rely on harnessing the essence of stronger foes, as the process of improving your own soul essence would still require some conscious refinement, which can be done by making use of refinement techniques which seem to have been mostly lost, as there really isn't a need for them anymore after the invention of the spell. Now, moving on, once you have made enough progress in improving the quality of your essence, your soul core will undergo a qualitative change. From there, the only thing left for one to ascend would be the ability to enter one's own soul core, as without this ability, you apparently cannot ascend unless you have a very generous amount of time in your hands. After Ascension comes Transcendence. Now, Transcendence requires one to not only once again improve their soul essence quality, but also increase the quantity that they can store. Transcendence also requires one to form a connection to the world via their aspect. Now, on a quick side note, prior to the nightmare spell, individuals were not granted an aspect upon becoming an awakened, but each awakened did have the potential to realize an aspect, but it was just the fact that most people never did, as finding your own aspect seems to be a very hard thing that most people were not able to do. This is important because if you want to transcend or become a saint, you must have an aspect which you can use in order to form a connection with the world. Once you have met these requirements, you will be able to successfully become a saint. Now, in terms of becoming a sovereign, Anink's knowledge on the subject ends, as in her time, there weren't really any sovereigns around that would have been able to teach her. If I had made this video earlier, it would have ended here, but I'm glad I waited, as I can kind of start to take a guess on the path that one must follow in order to become a sovereign. From the Nephis POV chapters we recently received, it seems that in order to become a sovereign, naturally, amongst the other requirements, which I'm sure are there, like once again raising the quality of your soul essence and so on, the main requirement is most likely to form a domain, which one might go about by building upon the prior connection to the world established through their aspect. From there, once the domain is established, they would most likely have the qualifications to be a sovereign. This is just my guess, so let me know what you guys think. With that having been said, this is what we know about the natural path of ascension so far. Let me know what you guys think about the video. If you have any theories on the subject, I would love to hear them. And last but not least, thank you for watching.